Yeah.
There we go.
So, welcome all to another experience of Mindful Mondays. It's so lovely to have you here. What I thought we would do today is practice with something that I've shared in past sessions, but not this semester or this year. And it's the see, hear, feel practice. And it'll come in really handy, especially if you're in the, you're seeing the sky, because you could start with that. Um, so you can do this posture in any, or you can do this practice in any posture. And so I just invite you first to stretch out, stretch your arms high, take up as much space as you need, stretch your arms wide, extend your fingers out beyond what they can feel like they can go, doing the same with your toes and by flexing your feet, by pushing out against the heels, and then pointing the toes, and then doing your best to open the toes as wide as you can. And then just move around your wrists and your ankles, just gently moving them, and then allowing them to just relax. Now, from here, we're going to take a couple of deep but comfortable breaths in and out at our own pace. And we can breathe in through the nose if that's available to us right now. Breathing in, letting it fill up our belly, our lungs in the front, and our lungs through the back. And then exhaling through the mouth with a sigh. Doing that on your own, at your own pace, a couple of more times. And there will be periods of silence where I'll just give you some time to work with the prompt I just gave and see what you end up doing with it. If you stick to it, if you don't stick to it. That's the practice of mindfulness, is building awareness around what does our mind do when we ask it to do something. So I thought we would practice see, hear, feel, and we'll start with seeing. And we're going to see out. So, with your eyes open, just taking in the visual field, things that are close and things that are far, things that are in between, things that you can see, and then recognizing that there are things that you can't necessarily see. Whatever comes in through your field of vision, in your visual space of the external world, just noticing. You don't have to name them. It's actually better if you can just experience them. And you can use the label of see every 3 to 5 seconds or so. See, see, see. Now, from here, we're going to turn our attention and begin to see what's going on in our visual thinking space. We do this by gently closing our eyes. Begin to notice what images happen to pop up in your mind's eye. It might be colors, you might see floaters, so you might not see any sort of visual memory, but you might see other things. You might see a gray or black screen or some other color screen. Letting the eyes relax as they're closed, letting them fall back into their sockets. Just noting, what do you see with your eyes closed? And continuing to use the label of see every few seconds if you actually do see something. But if, and eventually sometimes this happens for some, nothing shows up, it's just sort of that blank screen. You can recognize that your visual field, your internal visual field is taking a rest, and you can use the label rest. So noting what it is that's coming up, using the word see to help identify the experience, and using the word rest when there's nothing, there is no visual experience happening. And in the same way, where we give our attention to our visual field inwardly and outwardly, we also have an auditory field that's external and internal. So we'll start by honing in on hearing externally. So notice all the sounds, like the sound of my voice, any other sounds that may be in the room. Maybe you can even hear yourself breathing. There's sounds that are near and those that are farther away. There's ones that come and go, and there's ones that are constant without having to identify them. Just recognize them, that you're experiencing hearing. And you can do this by every time you notice that your hearing is being engaged, you can, every couple of seconds, use the label of hear, 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 and for most of us, We're not just hearing the external auditory stimuli, but usually a lot of sounds being generated in our mind, in self-talk, that audio track that happens to be part of any thought we might be experiencing. So turning your attention to that internal audio track, and again, not getting caught up in the details of it or the content, but continuing with a label of here, just recognizing that this is something different than the auditory sounds external that your ears are picking up. This is the internal self talk. Here, here, here. And the last field of physical experience that we have is that sense, the physical sensation of feeling. And so when you feel ready, begin to investigate where you feel supported by the chair that you're in or the ground. And you can do this by taking note of where the body is making contact with any sort of surface. So back of the upper legs or your sitting bones or your upper back, your feet. And the label that you would use to take note of the sensation, those physical sensations that you're experiencing would be feel. So every once in a while, recognizing that that's the area of focus, your physical sensation, by using the label feel, 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 and the mind might cooperate for a bit, but then it might begin to wander off, offering up attention to things that may seem more pressing or novel. See if you can bring it back to your physical sense. And with each exhale, allowing the body to soften a little more, to sink a little deeper into the sheet, into the seat. Feel. So that's our experience of our physical sense. But there's also an internal feeling that we experience, and that's related to the body sensations as we can attribute to any sort of emotion that might be here. It's beginning to just explore and see if there are any emotions happening in this moment. And remembering from the perspective of mindfulness, there's no wrong human emotion. There's just ones that are pleasant and others that are unpleasant, and yet others that we might consider neutral, but they're all part of the human experience. So our practice is one to recognize the ones that we have preference over. It's usually the pleasant ones or the neutral ones and not the unpleasant ones. So recognizing any emotions or feelings that are here right now, and beginning to give your attention to where you feel them in the body and how they're expressing in that part of the body. Sometimes when we're sad, we might be frowning, our shoulders might slump or become concave. Our brows might feel heavy, or if we're agitated or angry, we might clench our jaw. Our heart might race. We might feel different muscle groups in our face, in our shoulders tense up. When we're happy, we might feel the gentleness of the smile. We might feel our happiness in our eyes, or we might feel an expansion in our upper chest, or a softening in our belly. So different emotions all carry their own physical stamps that signal to our mind that that's the emotion that's here. So noting how, if there are any emotions, how they're expressing in the body. And you can continue to use the label of feel, feel. And from here, getting to notice any combination of seeing, hearing, feeling, really opening yourself up to your experience as it's happening in real time. And you can label it in any combination. So you can label it as see, hear, feel, see, feel, see, hear, feel, or just singly, like we were doing, just as see, just as hear, or just as feel. And there's no perfect way to label. You can just recognize that you do your best, and then in a few seconds, you're going to have another opportunity to label what just happened. So it's just a matter of practice and more practice. So it might sound like this. See here, see here, here, feel, feel, see here, feel, see. Continuing to practice in this way. As you continue to practice in this way, you can recognize that in mindfulness, it's all about the observation that we're looking to, our noticing of our experience with some openness and curiosity about the state of the mind and the state of the body, just as it is right now. So we use these labels to mark our experience neutrally, or as neutral as we can be, knowing that we'll always have preferences. And as we close out this period of practice together, I'd like you to take a moment to offer some gratitude to yourself for committing this time to practicing in this way, allowing your mind and body and emotional states to just be here. So much of what we do across our daily life is either expressing it out or holding it in. What's it like to just let it be, getting some practice in that way? Because you can recognize that we practice as individuals and we gain benefits from practicing in this way on our own for sure. We feel the changes that happen in us, but all of those changes also have a ripple effect and they touch all the people that we come into contact with who also benefit from our practice. And the fact that we might be a little more patient or understanding or kinder or gentler, more loving as we expand all those qualities to ourselves. We're expanding the capacity to offer it up to others. So everyone benefits. And when you're ready, allowing the light to peer into your eyes if they're still closed, beginning to move your head and neck and arms, keeping that little flavor of mindfulness in these movements, staying really connected to your body. Recognizing that you're safe and relatively secure in this moment, and just having a little bit of gratitude for that, given all that's going on in the world right now. So thank you all for joining, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I am gonna bring the chair backs up to you. As usual, it was a fabulous experience.
Too deep.
Thanks very much, Vivian.
Good.
Next week, next Monday, I will see you.
Yep. See you
And then,
then.
and the following Monday, there won't be a mindful practice because the campus is closed in
What?
honor of Veterans Day,
Is that November 10th?
November 10th.
How funny, because I had a sub lined up for me.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
so now we know.
yeah,
Okay,
campus is closed on the 10th, but open on the 11th. It
gotcha.
gives
Okay,
people a long weekend.
I
All
will
right,
let them know. All
but I'll
right,
see you next
thanks.
Monday. All right,
Okay,
bye,
take care.
Vivian.